Okay, so we are looking at expert systems, and now I want to look at a type of question which we can get in that area. So let me mind about the voices here in the background. There are some people doing some work. You just concentrate on what we are studying. So we have such a scenario question, and we assume it is an exam question. So say the Ministry of Health in Uganda is facing a shortage of experienced doctors in rural health centers. Many patients in districts like Kasese district and Nebi district, they rely on nurses or community health workers who may lack advanced diagnostic skills. Okay. So to address this, the government partners with a local tech company to develop an AI-based expert system called MedAid. Okay. So the system, so this is the requirements for this. This is what the government expects from this system. One, it should ask patients questions about symptoms, like when you go to a hospital, the doctor is going to ask you, yes, you are feeling headache. Which side? How long has it taken? Okay. Do you feel also some coldness? Are you sneezing? So symptoms. So then the system is going to use a knowledge base of diseases. So from the symptoms which you have given the system will look at malaria. These symptoms, are they for malaria? Are they for typhoid? Are they for pneumonia? And so on and so forth. Then it applies inference rules to suggest possible diagnosis. Remember inferencing, which we saw in expert systems. We talked about inference. So it will suggest and it recommends the treatment or a referral to the patient. Okay. So that is the scenario case ahead of us. Now we have the questions. Let's begin with the first question, which says identify and explain the main components of the MedAid expert system. Okay. Can someone help us with number one there? Identify and explain the main components of the, what is expected in that question? From the topic we had for expert systems, what does examiner expect from that question? Question one. No one would pass that question if it was in the exam paper. Asimu Joan. If you found that question in the paper, what would you answer? Or where do you think, from what we have studied, where do you think the answer would come from? Asimu Joan. How we have your ghost online? Resistom. Ali Muhindo. Can you assist the situation? And you even have the notes with you. Where do you think the answer for number one will come from?
I think
Identify and
number
let's
one
the
requires
component. Yes, please go ahead.
I think number one requires the components that will be involved in this system. They might be tangible or these intangible components. The hardware or the software.
That is according to you. Is that all? Which you need to answer that question? Anyone else who can attempt?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Me as a person, I think the components, the person means the main components that what is expected in the system, what the system is supposed to portray mostly. Let me say like the user interface. What is the use of the user interface in the system? Let me say other like the memory stuff like that. The engines to be used, and what is the objectives of the system. That is my take.
Okay. Someone else?
Yeah.
Another person?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. For me, the main components of this system, I think one is the knowledge base, where the information will be stored for diseases. For instance, if you say you are feeling fever, the temperatures are high, this system should be having a knowledge base where this information is in order to come to a conclusion. That is one. The next component is, I think, is the user interface that maybe will allow patients or health workers to input like maybe symptoms and receive guidance on it. And the next maybe should be the database where the patient records and the history is kept.
Okay.
Yeah,
Any other
that's what
person? Are you still going on? Oh,
I know. That's so.
okay. Any other person?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay. For me, the main components would be knowledge base, inference engine, here the brain of the system that uses reasoning, like forward or backward chaining to apply knowledge-based rules to user data for answers and predictions. Then the next will be user interface, and then working model. Anyway, it can be optional and knowledge acquisition model.
Okay. All of you have that slide for you have that handout for expert systems, the PowerPoint slide which I used. Right? There's a slide which says software solution. Software solution. I know people struggle to go to ChatGPT. But let us just understand the things without using AI. You want to go to ChatGPT. Let us go to our notes because we have these things in our notes. There is a slide which says software solution. I think that is slide 25. Has everyone reached there?
Yes.
What do you see there?
There is a diagram.
Okay, it's true, there's a diagram. Did you explain that diagram?
Yes, we did.
Mhm. So when you look at number one, okay, when you look at number one, we are looking at a software solution. Actually, this question is exactly examining you on that to see if you understood that diagram. The question is exactly examining that diagram, the software solution. Okay? Because the expert system which you are going to develop is a software, it's not a hardware, it is a software. Okay? So, what are the components of this software? Is exactly what the question is asking you. Does it make sense? At least the last two presenters have tried to, if it was in an exam, at least they have tried to go around to hit on the answer. The last two presenters, because they have hinted on this. I don't know if they have cross-checked with the ChatGPT or they have cross-checked with their notes. But as you are going to revise, you have everything which you need for the exam. Now, for such a question, the notes are there. Okay. But it may be tricky for you in answering it. Okay. So identify and explain the major components of the expert system. Okay. When you look at such a question, the expert system, which they are referring to, is a software. Okay. This is a software. Now, they are talking of components. They're talking of components. So we are looking at the various components that are going to form a software solution, because the expert system is a software solution. Okay. So basically, this number here is examining, the examiner here wants to know, did the student understand? Did the student understand the software solution diagram? Because that's where the components are. That's where the components are. And in identifying them, you are supposed to explain them. Okay? So, can you explain one by one, not just mentioning them? Now, I've told you where the answer is. So, don't read for me what is in the notes. Don't go to ChatGPT, but let us explain one component at a time to understand what it does. Okay? To be able to use it. Don't go to ChatGPT to read for me what ChatGPT is saying, but explain to me. Yes, you can read the notes, but don't read for me what is in the notes. You imagine you're in an exam room. What are you going to write on the paper? So let us go component by component. Now we have identified where those components are. So let us go component by component, explain one by one. Okay, can we start? Let's begin with the knowledge base. Anyone who can explain? Begin with knowledge base.
Let me give it a try. For knowledge base, like this is the part that contains the fact and the rules about the disease. And then in the knowledge base, it is where this well shall transform the medical data into the format the computer can understand.
Excuse me, sir. If I'm to talk about knowledge base, what I can say is for this system, in order because
Sorry,
the passion.
I'd gone away from my PC. Are you the first presenter?
No, I'm just the second presenter.
Oh, I missed the first one. The first one, please kindly summarize a bit what you presented. Someone had distracted me. Then the second one can come in again because I did not hear what the first one presented.
All right, sir. I'd say for the knowledge base, this is the part that contains the facts and the rules about the disease. That's what I'd
The
say.
rules. The knowledge base is what?
This is the part that contains the rules about the disease.
Is that all? What you can say about knowledge base?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then the second person was saying what?
For knowledge base, I was saying that since here we are looking at the problem of the medical place. The challenge is that they don't have the medical. The problem is to find a way of adding the AI system into the rural areas. In these villages, someone is going to come and describe what is the problem, the signs and symptoms. So this system has to be able to pick up, identify, compare those signs and symptoms, and relate them to what kind of disease is that. Being able to relate the sign and symptom to the actual disease to be treated. Yes.
Okay, another one.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
So, what I can basically say about the knowledge base, it would act in our
Excuse me, as you are
maybe
telling
expert
us,
system.
as you are telling us, you imagine you are in an exam, and that part is saying 10
Yes.
marks. Okay, so you are struggling to get the 10 marks. Okay, continue.
Yeah, so
Your network is breaking. We have lost you. Another person, that one we have lost him. Is it my network or the presenter's network? Can the rest of the people hear me? And the
Yes,
rest
I
of
can hear you.
So the presenter
you
is lost, yeah?
Probably.
Okay. Here, we have identified the components, okay? And we have looked at the first the question. We are saying we have identified the components, we have stated them. And then the next thing is to explain them. So the first component here is the knowledge base. And when we talk of the knowledge base, it means that is where all the medical knowledge is going to be stored. Like the doctor, now we are looking at a scenario whereby we don't have a doctor in the hospital. but we are creating an expert system which is going to act as the doctor. Now, as this doctor goes to school, goes to university, the way you're in university studying AI, these doctors go to the universities. Now, as they go to the universities, remember knowledge. What is knowledge? So if you go back to the definition of knowledge, what did we say knowledge is?
You know, my
Okay.
first
What did we say knowledge is?
God.
Some people are romancing themselves in our class. Please unmute so that we don't hear what you are doing. What did we say knowledge is? So this question, to understand it very well, you must understand the technical terms in it. One of the technical terms is knowledge. Unless you know what knowledge is, it will be difficult for you to answer the question. Who remembers what knowledge is? When we are beginning the chapter, we defined what knowledge is. What did we say?
We said that knowledge is a theoretical or practical understanding of a subject.
Yes, a theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. Correct. Now, if knowledge is a theoretical or a practical understanding of a subject, now these doctors are going to go to the universities to acquire that knowledge, to acquire that theoretical and practical understanding of a subject, whereby a subject is a particular disease. Say, for example, malaria. Okay. Now, as we create a knowledge base, okay, is where medical knowledge is going to be stored. So it's like this machine, you are taking it to the university to acquire as much knowledge as it can, both theoretical and practical, about a particular subject. Now, a particular subject is going to be various diseases. That is why you see these doctors. You are going to see a doctor who says, I'm a gynecologist. So that means that one acquired the theoretical and practical understanding of gynecology. Another is going to say, I'm a dentist. That is, remember we talked of the domain, okay? The domain, the area of specialization. We talked all these times, we talked about them. And this is now an exam question, which is required to interpret what we did in class. So we talked of a domain. Now, a knowledge base here has been created. And what is contained in a knowledge base? Okay? So what you contain in a knowledge base, these are the facts. For example, facts about malaria. What causes malaria? Okay? This patient has come. He has malaria. So we are looking about facts. Then we are going to look about the rules and the relationship between the symptoms. Okay? I don't know if people are picking what I'm saying. I think it's clear, or I'm just complicating them.
No, sir, they are clear.
Because you are going to find such exam questions, and I'm showing you how you are supposed to approach them. If you don't approach them this way, if you think you are going to do cram and paste, you'll be lost in the exam, because all the exams are full of scenario questions. Okay? So for a rural health center in Uganda, like in Nebi, which you have talked about, okay? So the knowledge base would include, these are common diseases. Okay, so the knowledge base you are creating, you are going to put common diseases. And these common diseases are malaria, typhoid, pneumonia, maybe, I don't know if HIV is also one of the common diseases, but at least we look at measles and so on, those common diseases, which we make sure all these diseases are captured in our knowledge base. Okay, because we have, and this is where now the research comes in. This is where the research comes in. It means you have to go in that area, do the research. As you do the research, you are going to find out the common diseases which are affecting people in rural areas. Otherwise, you are going to take an expert system which is not going to accommodate any disease in those areas. Now, here the context we are looking at is Uganda, rural areas. It means you have to go there and do research, thorough research, find out exactly what are the common diseases that people in these rural areas are suffering from. Then you need the symptoms. Yes, you have got the common diseases. You need the symptoms like fever, vomiting, headache, cough, those symptoms, such that you can attach them to the common diseases. Okay. Here, all of this, you are creating what is called a knowledge base. Okay. A knowledge base. Then you need also the treatment guidelines. But remember, the treatment guidelines, they have to be approved by the Ministry of Health. It's not you to put your own treatment guidelines, no. Okay. So they can be approved by Ministry of Health, or remember, we talked of a domain expert. Remember those terminologies, domain expert. So here we can say domain expert is the Ministry of Health, but you can go to a medical doctor and you ask him if a patient has such and such symptoms. We know this patient has malaria, okay? But what treatment do we need for this malaria? Then the medical doctor is going to tell you the treatment you need, the type of medicine you need, how it is swallowed, depending on the weight, the years. If a person is this from this year to for this range of years, you're given this 1 times 2. So you are coding all this. You are forming what is called a knowledge base. Okay. I don't know if people are getting it. So now this knowledge base which you have created, okay? If it is weak or if it is incomplete, then it means your system is going to be useless. People are going to come to your hospital in the village and they see no meaning to it. It doesn't help them. Okay? So you have to make it comprehensive enough to accommodate all the diseases and also to have the solution to the identified diseases. Okay? So if you find such in an exam, this is a type of explanation I expect you to give. If you think you are going to give one sentence explanation and you are done, you are finished completely. Any question on what I have explained? Or anything which is not clear? Have you got everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Are things scaring you?
Yes.
Who is saying yes? What is scaring you now? Someone saying, I see what you're saying, I beg your pardon. So I don't know now on what. No explanation. Which explanation? Who is scared? Aisha, are you scared? Who is saying that he's scared? Better be scared now when we are discussing than being scared when your face has faced the exam paper. Okay? So we are still on number 1. The second component was what? What was the second component? The second component was what?
Interface
User
engine.
interface.
User what?
User interface.
Yeah, before you go to user interface actually comes last. If you look at that diagram, what is the second component? Those who have the diagram. User interface is at a,
Interface engine.
so the second, yes, database works goes with the knowledge base. As you create, that's why you see they're on the same level. As you create a knowledge base, okay, you're actually creating a database, and of course that database is one which has the facts. Okay. The database has the facts and has the rules. Okay. So when we talk of a knowledge base, Remember, knowledge base, we are talking of facts, we are talking of rules, and we are looking at a relationship between these symptoms and diseases using facts and rules. Okay, so that one helps us to form what is called a knowledge base. Okay, so from the knowledge base, then we go down and we create what we call the inference engine. Now, the inference engine, that is our major decision maker. Okay, that is a decision maker, and that is the reasoning part. Okay, now I can tell you, look at this doctor who has gone to the university. Okay, there were 100 doctors in the class. All of them graduated, 100 doctors. Okay, and all of them are different, are in different hospitals. Okay, now as they're in the hospitals, why is it that a woman can say, oh, go to Rubaga, there is a gynecologist. That gynecologist cannot fail. Why doesn't it say go to Nsambia? Why doesn't it say go to KIU? Why? But Nsambia has a gynecologist, KIU has Kampala International Hospital has a gynecologist.
Oh, you're doing
has a gynecologist.
nice.
People mute your things. Some people are distracting us. You see? Now, all of these are gynecologists in different hospitals. They attended the same classes, same universities.
Now you're working. That's what we call working out, okay? You're working out now. How is it feeling? Which bad? It's good.
Someone's called Great EMS. I'm about to put you off the class. Great EMS, I'm about to put you off the class. You are distracting us. I don't know who's called Great EMS. I'm about to put you out of the class. Okay. So we have been on the inference engine, and we are saying this is the reasoning part of the system. Yes, we have had the knowledge base. We are putting the facts. We are putting the rules. Okay. But if this system is not reasoning enough, we may get problems. We are looking at this doctor now who has gone to the university. He has acquired all the knowledge. Okay. Okay, sorry. So someone who had come in, that's why I had muted. So I was saying, all of us, the doctors have gone to the university. Okay. But so yeah, we are saying the inference engine is the reasoning part of the system. And what does it do? So the inference engine is going to apply the logic, the rules. Remember the rules we talked about in the knowledge base. Okay, it is going to apply them. Now, this doctor after graduation, and that is what the society outside is expecting of you. Someone is not. This person, great aims. I'm going to put him out of class. I'm going to remove you. The next time you unmute, you make noise for us, I'm totally going to remove you from class. So we're tired of being distracted by you. We're on serious matters and you're distracting us. Okay. So, even you have confused me where I was. What was I explaining? What was I explaining? This person has now confused my head.
You're explaining about the
I was explaining what?
Engine. You're explaining about the infrared engine.
Yeah, but where have I reached? What was I on?
We're saying like it carries out the reasoning part.
Yes, inference, the reasoning part, it is one which applies. We have been saying, yes, you can
Yes.
come to a university and we teach you. You acquire the knowledge, you acquire the theories, you acquire the practicals, you do attend all lectures and so on. You even pass the exam. Okay? But now what matters is how you apply those facts you have acquired at a university, the knowledge you have acquired at a university, how you apply them. Now that is the inference part of it, the decision making. I was telling you a doctor, a lady wants a gynecologist, is referred, go to Rubaga, they have the best gynecologist. But in Zambia, as a gynecologist, Mulaga is a gynecologist. All these people did the same course, same university, graduated on the same day. But why are they telling you go? Because the one at Rubaga can apply the knowledge better. All of these people have gone through this. Okay? But this one can apply the knowledge better. Okay? So the inference, which is a decision part, applies the logical rules to the knowledge base. It matches the user input. User input, those are the symptoms with the stored rules. Okay? So it is going to match. You go to the gynecologist, you say, at night, when I'm going to my periods, I get a lot of pain. Okay? When I'm going to my periods. Now, this doctor is the one now to use the knowledge she or he has to apply to say, maybe when you're going to your periods and you have a lot of pains, then maybe you have this problem. But another doctor may not even understand that symptom of heavy pains when you're going to the period. Another doctor, maybe the one who used the ChatGPT and passed the exam, he will not understand. But the person who read, understood, which side and comprehended it will be able to tell, oh, this is a problem. And that's why this the gynecologist in Rubaga and not go to the gynecologist where. Okay. Then this person should be able to draw conclusions. So the element of the inference engine, part 2 inference engine. So you have to explain what the inference engine is. Okay. So remember, you explain what the inference engine is and you explain what it does. So the same thing we did with the knowledge base. We explained what a knowledge base is and what a knowledge base does. Okay? So we are still on question number 1. And we are looking at the components. So each component, as you can see, we have to explain what it is and what it does. Okay? I don't know if you are moving very well. So at the end of the day, if a patient puts in fever, has symptoms, it says, I have fever, I am sweating, I have headache. So the inference engine, now the reasoning part of it, it should be able to check the rules. And the rules are the ones, remember, in the knowledge base, we put rules. And some of these rules are if fever, and then sweating, and headache, then malaria. If it is fever, sweating, and headache, then malaria. Okay? Now, a doctor who never comprehends this will not be able to tell that it is malaria. Will say, maybe you didn't take supper, God eat food. Okay? But the patient is going to go back and is going to even die. And people say, but we even went to the hospital and the doctor said, no, it is not. But the doctor never knew that it is malaria because this is a product of ChatGPT. People no longer comprehend things. Okay? So, and when you look at this, remember what we call the forward chaining and the backward chaining. Okay? Remember the concept of the forward chaining and backward chaining. Okay? Are we together or I'm confusing you? I'm trying to break it down as much as I can. Yes? Any feedback from so far what you have said before we go to the third component? Someone put in a chat room, what have you put? Okay.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. So for me, I'm having a question because my network was on and off about this Med-Aid expert system. What is it all about? Is it about the other expert systems that you taught us, or it's kind of different? Because I'm seeing what you're explaining is similar. What you
Can
gave us.
someone help me to answer that
Can
student?
someone help me to answer that
Because she
student?
came
Can someone
late.
help because she came late?
So no one knows where we are. The whole class is lost. The entire class is lost. You don't know where they met. Okay. Can you see my screen, people?
Yes, sir.
What are you seeing on my screen? What can you see on my screen? You said yes, you can see, but you are not telling me what you are seeing.
Yes, me, I can say, I can say the questions. Then question one is identify
Now,
identify and explain the main components, and now it is gone.
Now, what are you saying?
Now I'm saying the background scenario question.
So that is what you missed. That's where the lecture started from. I said we have just completed the topic on expert systems, right? And I said because exams are coming, people don't know how exactly the questions are going to be set and how they are to be answered. So I brought one, because there are going to be scenario questions the way you see this one. So I brought one scenario question to show you how the exam questions will be set and how you can get from your notes the answers. Okay? Because I realize such questions may come, but you may fail. You have revised, but you may fail to figure out where do I get the answer to answer this question. Okay? So I brought such a scenario question because the exam questions are just going to be like that. They are going to be scenario questions. So, and I gave a scenario question which says the Ministry of Health in Uganda is facing a shortage of experienced doctors in rural health areas. Many patients in districts like Kasese district and Nebi district rely on nurses or community health workers who may lack advanced diagnostics. So there's a problem. The government doesn't have enough doctors. Okay, that is a problem. The government doesn't have enough doctors. Okay, now to solve this problem, the government thinks that it should create expert systems instead of putting nurses and health workers in those villages to treat people. So the government thinks that they can use technology and they develop expert systems which can assist them. Okay, in absence of doctor to work. Okay, so that's why we are saying to address this. The government wants to create an expert system, and this expert system, they are calling it Med-Aid. So that term Med-Aid, that's where it is coming from, which is confusing you. So they want to call that system, that name, Med-Aid. Okay. And then this system should be able to ask patients questions about symptoms. It uses a knowledge base of diseases like malaria, typhoid, and pneumonia. It applies inference rules to suggest possible disease diagnosis, and it recommends treatment of or referral to the patients, right? So that's where now the questions are. Okay. And we have had 6 questions from this scenario question. So 6 questions. And right now we are looking at the first question, which says identify and explain the main components of the made aid expert system. So that's where the term made expert system is that name which the government has called that system. And the first question now is we appreciated and say this expert system is a software solution, right? And we said this question now is looking at what we covered under the software solution. So I took you back to the slides and we looked at that diagram which has the software solution components. And we said those components are knowledge base, then the inference engine, user interface. So those components, now we are trying to break down these components because the question says identify and explain. Yes, after identifying them, now we are explaining one by one. And the first one we explained was knowledge base. Okay. So, and I said each component, you have to explain what that component is and what it does. What is the knowledge base and what it does, and how is it going to be used by MedAid. Now, where we have been on the inference engine. Have I brought you on board? Are you where we are now? Or you are still confused? The person who asked disappeared. She's dead.
I'm available, sir. You have brought me in the right track now.
So you're on board now?
Yes, sir.
All right, any other question? Just a minute, I need to attend to someone. Just give me a minute. As also, you can make notes, you can do Okay, I am back. So we are still on number one. Now the user interface is the third. Again, with the user interface, again, we have to look at what it is.
Now, what about explanation facilities?
Explanation facilities. Someone is asking, what about explanation facilities? Can anyone help me to answer that? Someone is asking, what about explanation facilities? No answer. What did we say about explanation facilities?
According to the notes or according to what you've said in class? Maybe I lost you because of network.
No, I have not said, today I have not talked about explanation facilities. I'm saying, what did we say about explanation facilities?
Oh, they explain the how and why. They enable the use of the system to know the how and why.
Now, if you have ever gone to the hospital, okay? Have you ever asked the doctor why or how did
I've
I
never
get
gone to the
malaria? If the
hospital.
doctor says you have malaria, okay? Have you ever asked yourself, the doctor, but how did I get malaria? I sleep under mosquito net, okay? If someone says you have typhoid, you say how? I even even I take boiled water. How can you say I have typhoid? Okay? Are you trying to relate what I'm saying?
I'm trying.
Someone says you have typhoid, and they say the symptom or why you have typhoid is because you are drinking unboiled water. But for your conk sure you drink boiled water. So you go ahead to probe. Okay? You go ahead to probe. You ask, but how? I drink boiled water. And then how can you say? Because typhoid is for unboiled water, but me I drink boiled water. And how? Why? Why do I have this typhoid? Okay? So this doctor allows you opportunity to ask questions to understand better. Okay? So even our expert system, we have not yet completed it. Okay? We have not yet completed it. But as we are designing it, it should be able to give further explanations like that, those ones. That's what we call explanation facilities. Okay? It should do further. If a patient says, like, for example, if the system says you are feeling headache, you have fever, then that is malaria. So it's not enough for me. Can I go ahead and I tell this system, why do you say malaria? I thought I'm pregnant. For me, when I came, I thought I'm pregnant, but why do you say malaria? So, okay. So you're asking the why, the how. You are probing further. Okay. It's not, you don't want it just to say this, ABCD, that, go home. Okay. So, am I answering you? Can we go back to the third, which is the user interface?
Yes. Yes.
So, now the user interface is the communication bridge. Okay. The communication bridge. And actually, it's going to bring out what I have just explained, the explanation stage. Okay, it is going to come out. Some of these things are inbuilt. Now, the explanation facility is inbuilt within the user interface because this user is the one who's going to ask the questions. So the user interface is basically what we call the communication bridge. It is a bridge between the user and the system. Okay, the user and the system. It helps this user to interact with this system, to go ahead, probe further, ask more questions, ask the why, ask the how. Okay? So the user interface is going to be embedded in that explanation facility. Okay? So the user interface is how the users interact now with the system. Okay? Because these users to interact with the system, they have to ask some things. They must know. Okay? They have to enter symptoms. And if the user system is not friendly, the system also is not going to be friendly to people and the people will not use it. So now in this, when you look at our scenario case, when you go back, you see, now, let me ask you, who are the users in our scenario case? If you read the scenario, who are the users in our scenario?
I think they use the scenarios and then nurses.
The users are who?
Also nurses.
Nurses, right?
Also the patients.
Also the what? The patients, right? You are forgetting some other, there's another category of users. Yes, the nurses are there, the patients are there, but there's another category which is being talked about. Someone saying doctors. No. Here we are building a system which is going to replace doctors. So doctors is not a category here because the system we are building is replacing the doctors. Can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
So they are saying the Ministry of Health in Uganda is facing a shortage of experienced doctors in rural areas. Now, there's no way you can talk of doctors because even they are not there. Experienced doctors, a shortage. And they are saying many patients, that is the first category here. Now, the first category here is the patients. Many patients in districts like Kasese, Nebi district rely on nurses, okay? Now, the nurses are available. That is the second category. Or community health workers. So that is the third category. Okay. So the users here who are available are the patients, nurses, and community health workers. Okay. Because the doctors are not there. And that is what we are looking to replace. Okay. Because the nurses and the community health workers are treating patients, but these ones are lacking advanced diagnostic skills. Okay. So here, when we talk of the people who are going to interact with the system, the users are the nurses, community health workers, the patients. Can a nurse who is not a doctor feed in the symptoms of a patient and then it tells this is a problem? Or this patient, even if he doesn't go to the health center and stays at home, maybe you have made a mobile application, the patient sit at home and enter into these symptoms. And the mobile application tells the parents where this, then the patient just goes to pick medicine from the pharmacy or from the health center. Okay. Or if he's a community worker, he's working within the community, he's moving within the community and finds the patient in the house sick. This patient has no mobile phone, doesn't know how to use this gadget, is not aware of this system. Can this community worker key in the symptoms of this patient and tells this patient is suffering from this and gets him a pay? So we have three users here, the nurses, community health workers, and the patients. Okay? Does it make sense? So going back to our explanation, which we talked about earlier on, the system which we are creating, the Med-Aid system, it should be able to ask questions like, do you have fever? So this system should be able to interact with this patient, ask him, do you have a fever? To probe further, the probing which we said, do you have fever? Okay. And this patient can respond by either saying yes or no, or even asking the system, what do you mean by fever? Maybe a patient doesn't know what fever means. Can you explain further what a fever is? That is the explanation facility which we talked about. Okay. Are we on the same pace?
Yes, sir. We're on the same pace.
So also when you are putting into consideration the user interface, remember the term there, the system has been saying the local people in the village. Now, it's most probably local people in the village. Probably they don't know, majority of them don't know English. Now, do you also consider putting a local language which they will understand? Okay. So your system, to be more effective, I think it should even accommodate the local languages. Okay. Otherwise, people like you say fever, it says, what do you mean by fever? Person doesn't know what fever means. Okay. And also the user interface should be simple and mobile friendly. Okay. Very simple. You have seen most of you have used the mobile money services. Okay. You will see that some companies, when you dial *165 hash, it is easy to know where you are going and to go through. But you see some telecom companies, when you dial *165 hash, to figure out what you are looking for is a nightmare. So that means the mobile is not friendly. Okay. If you see that people are struggling to get what they need, it means it's not friendly. So make it so simple and friendly such that even an ordinary user can easily understand. Doesn't need anyone to go to university to be trained on how to use it. Okay. So I have explained number 3, the user interface. The fourth would be the explanation facility, but I have already explained it. That one, I have already explained explanation facility. Of course, it has how the system works out, reach a decision, and so on. Then the last one is the working memory. The working memory. Okay. Remember, everything we are doing is being captured in a memory. Okay. We have temporary information. As you are feeding this system, it is capturing whatever you are telling it. Okay. So we are having what we call temporary memory, temporary information, that working memory. Remember all those terms we talked about them. I don't know where people still remember them. Do you still remember those terms? Yes or no? So working
Yes.
memory, we have the symptoms. The patient is going to tell you the symptoms. They are entered. Then immediate conclusions. What have you concluded? Active rules being evaluated and so on. Those things in the working memory. Okay. Person has a fever, yes. Has cough, no. Headache, yes. Now that is temporary memory. The system is recording temporarily so that it can give a verdict. It can easily tell this is a problem. Okay. And this temporary storage, it is which is going to help the system to do a reasoning. Okay. Now, can someone explain to me how these components, because after the question tells us to, the question requires us to identify, okay, identify and explain the main components. But you have identified them, you have explained them, yes. But what is the relationship for them to assist us to make this system work out? Okay. How do all these components work together to form what is called an expert system? Okay. How does it work? Can someone explain to us how these components we have talked about, the knowledge base, interface, explanation, then user interface, how do they work? It is something, it's like a summary of the question, of summary of question 1. Okay. You are summarizing it. How do they work? Hey, my people, my people, my people. You people, are you going to pass the exam? Now people are struggling with chat GPT. We have spent all the time explaining these components. What is the relationship? Or how do they flow? What is the flow? Maybe I don't know if I'm asking the question wrongly. How do these ones flow?
Okay. According to what I know, according to my understanding.
Your voice is very far, I can't hear you.
Excellent. According to my understanding, now the user interface is going to be the first what? First interaction with the user. And it's going to collect that temporary data, but it's going to store temporarily. Then it goes to the reference image. That's where it's going to fetch some data from the database and get those symptoms that it will need so that it can bring according to the explanation facility so that it can bring the final output to the user interface.
Okay, thank you, Mukisa. You have explained it very well. I don't know if it has come from you or it has come from AI, but if it has come from you, that is very good. So he has explained it very well. So the user enters symptoms, okay? Because remember, we said the users are the patients, the nurses, and the community workers. Otherwise, if the system is not interacted with, it is going to be useless. So the major thing is a user enters symptoms via the user interface, okay? Via the user interface, okay? Now, after this user has entered information via the user interface, now that data is going to be stored in a working memory, which we have talked about as a temporary memory, the working memory. Okay, so it is going to be stored. And when it is stored there, then the inference engine is going to apply its rules from the knowledge base. Remember the knowledge base which we created. So the inference engine is going to look at what the user has entered, and what the user has entered is in the working memory. So it's going to look at it, and then it's going to compare it with the rules, with the facts in the knowledge base. And from there, the system is going to search, is going to do a search to look for exactly what is the problem. Okay? And then our explanation facility, which we talked about, is going to tell the user how the decision was made. Normally, you see, when you go to the hospital, these doctors are going to tell you that according to what you have explained, normally they ask you your history, these symptoms, and so on. They even tell you go to the lab, do this test, this, and this. So normally they don't just tell you you are pregnant, go. You have malaria, go. You have this, go. No. A good doctor will always explain to you what exactly maybe has caused the problem, such that next time you don't fall sick again. What has happened? Is it your diet which is causing this? So that explanation, okay? How has he reached the decision from the history he has asked, from the lab tests he done, and so on? How has he reached the decision to say this is a problem and this is a medicine which you are going to use? Okay? Because there are so many medicines on the market. Why is he choosing that one? So that's how our system works. Are people confused? Oh. Now I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask a question. If our system, the Med-Aid, if our system, we have finished it, we have taken it to Nebi to start working, okay, or in Kasese to start working, and we are very happy. The government has opened it, and you have said, yes, we have invested a lot of this money into this system, right? Now, 2-3 months later on, it is discovered that this system is giving wrong diagnosis. 2-3 months, I'm giving another case scenario now, based from what we have seen today. So if 2-3 months after it is discovered that this med aid is giving a wrong diagnosis, now my question is, which component is most likely to be responsible for this and why? Which component is most likely to be responsible and why? Yes?
It's the knowledge base.
Yes? Someone is talking about
Knowledge
background.
base.
Yeah, someone says knowledge
Inference
base. Why?
engine.
Yeah?
Inference engine.
Let us begin with the first person who said knowledge base. Why do you say knowledge base?
I say that it is knowledge base because it's where the queries are going to be made from, so that it can bring back.
Your voice is fine. I'm struggling to hear what you are saying. The person who saying knowledge base, your
I
voice
think
is
it is the
fine.
database because like it is the one in which is going to be queried from to get the final output so that it can be brought back into the what? The user interface back to the user.
Okay, someone else said the inference engine. Can you explain why you said inference engine?
Yes, I'm saying inference engine because this is where the development of the mediate expert system will be developed.
I have not got you well.
You've not got me.
Maybe use other words. Maybe if someone has got you well, may have not understood well.
Okay, I'm saying that inference engine, since this is where the solution comes from, according to the knowledge base. So when the solution, according to the knowledge base, whereby there will be solving of the problem. So coming up with the solution, if the solution is not the right one, it will lead to the decline.
Okay.
Papa.
Now,
Yes.
both of you are correct. Although there is also one element you are leaving out. Both of you, the one who said the knowledge base is correct, the one who says inference engine is correct, but there's a third one which you are leaving out, that is the user interface. Now, we begin with the knowledge base, okay? When you look at the knowledge base, the chances are high that it has wrong facts. What is called facts, it was wrong. What was put was wrong, okay? Or it has incomplete rules, okay? You have used some systems which have misbehaved, okay? For example, I can give you an example, simple example of the car, okay? The car has brakes. The car has brakes, but it also has brake fluid. Now, you may tell it to brake by pressing the brake pedal, and it fails to brake. Why? Because the brake fluid is not there. Maybe the tube got burst and the brake fluid poured and you did not know. By the time you press the brake pad, the car just takes you accident. Poof. Okay. But when you have done your part, you have pressed to brake, you have to press the brake. But now the knowledge base has something wrong with it. Okay. For you, the user, you have done your part, but the knowledge base has something wrong with it. So what does this one call for it? It means when you are designing your system, your knowledge base, you have to be very, very careful, because the mistake you are going to make in that knowledge base is like, now I'm teaching you, I'm the lecturer. I'm explaining to you these things. Now, if I give you wrong information, you people tomorrow are going to go out of the university and you are going to say, our lecturer said this. I don't know, some of you have kids at home, those young kids. Remember when we are starting AI, where we started from, a cup, who told you it is a cup? This is who told you it is a symbol grounding problem. And we appreciated And we say that our first, so now you're relating these topics where we started from. Remember, we said that first teacher who taught you that this is a cup, if he misled you, then the entire rest of your life, you are going to be misled by thinking it is a cup. And we said that first teacher, if he never taught you the proper way of handling a pencil to write, okay, you said most of us who have kids at home, you are going to tell a kid something and it's going to tell you, no, Daddy, no, mommy, our teacher said that is this. I remember one time I was telling my son, I told him, bring the pencil. And that's the English we studied at our times, bring the pencil. And the kid said, Daddy, no, it's not called a pencil. I said, it is a pencil. What is it? No, Daddy, it is called a pencil. Okay. So now the knowledge base, who entered these facts and how did he? Now, if you put in something which is wrong, most likely the system is going to give a wrong solution. If the knowledge base is not complete, if it is missing something, we are going to get a wrong solution. So here, we are asking ourselves, okay, what component is likely responsible? Knowledge base is one of those components. The second component is the inference engine. Now, inference engine, remember we said that is the reasoning. That is the reasoning of the system. We talked of this doctor who has gone to the university. He has acquired as much knowledge as he can, both theoretical and practical. He has acquired, okay? But if this doctor doesn't use this knowledge well to reason, if he doesn't use the logic, remember the reasoning techniques which we looked at about, okay? We had the logic. So if he doesn't read from the symptoms, he uses logic and all reasoning techniques to say, yes, according to what this patient has said. So that is why you're going to see that you're going to go to hospitals and some doctors are going to give you the wrong medicine. And after a week, no change. Then you go back. You have swallowed all the medicine for a full week, but you don't see any change. Okay? Because the doctor never interpreted well the symptoms and the signs of the disease. Okay? So the inference engine, who is the person now interpreting the reasoning, which is the inference engine there now, that is the person now reasoning out. So also if that reasoning has issues, there will be a problem. But also at a user interface where the patient, where the nurse, where the health worker are operating, they can also put in wrong data. Okay. The knowledge base may be okay, the inference engine is okay, but the person who entered wrong data. A person when you ask a person, are you vomiting? The person says no, but actually the person is vomiting. Okay? But you type no. Are you vomiting? No. But actually a person is vomiting. Already you have given it a wrong information. And the answer you are going to get is going to be prone to errors. Okay? So that question, I hope it is clear. Yes? Or does anyone want to add something? So I'm going to end there for today's lecture number 1. If we get the next time, I want to use this scenario question. And I would set more scenario questions. I'm going to set more and I'm going to give them to you. I would advise you to go to form groups, study groups, discuss these scenario questions the way we have done. Okay? Form study, I'm going to give you now this one plus others. I form study groups. Each topic, I'm going to give you some scenario questions to discuss. Form study groups, discuss them, because the exam is going to be like this. It's going to be full of scenario questions. Okay? And this is how you can. So from what we have seen, we see that our expert system can only say that it is good if the knowledge base is okay, if the inference engine is okay, that is the reasoning part, and its ability, the explanation part, its ability to communicate clearly with the users. Okay, so If the knowledge base is okay, the reasoning is okay, and the inference and the user interface is okay, if those three components are okay, there's no way our system is not going to be working well. I hope today's discussion has helped you to understand more of those things, because maybe we just I wanted today to do presentation, but the Holy Spirit just told me that we should get some scenario things, and I will look at them to help us to understand the notes which we have in class, instead of people just cramming, but even they don't know what they are cramming. But I hope today something has highlighted something. Yes?
Yes, we have understood that something.
People are so quiet.
We have understood something, sir. Thank you so much.
So should I give you more? Should I give you more scenario questions, or those are just enough?
Give us more scenario questions.
so we can do
Sir, you should
practice.
give us.
Yeah, but I advise you work in groups, right? Because the exam is full of such scenario questions. It will be 6 questions, and out of 6 questions, you do 4 questions. So all of them are scenario questions. There is no shortcut. All of them are scenario. Someone wants to cry.
We appreciate.
Okay, I think we can call it a day if there is no other questions. Some in the groups there. Someone is thanking the Holy Spirit. Yes. I have recorded this. I will put it on my YouTube channel. You can check there. You'll find it there, in case you need it for revision.
Okay. So I have a question.
Yes, please ask.
Yeah, I know we have joined the day people and then the weekend people. How should we make our groups?
No, weekend work as weekend, day work as day. Distance work as distance.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's just about revising for the final exam. Weekend work as weekend. Definitely weekend students, you may, I don't know, how do you prefer? Weekend students and day students do the same paper, or each group does its own paper?
Each group does its own.
I think all of us let us sit for it on a weekend day. I think that's the best way. We do the same paper.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, normally that's what I have been doing. So the paper, so if the timetable is out, the day students forget about, actually even I'll tell the person making a timetable, the paper should be on weekend. We should choose a weekend. That's when we shall do the paper, and we sit all of us in one room and we scratch our heads. But I avoid the one you. Don't cram, but understand, because these are all of the questions are going to be scenario questions like that one. And I'm warning you, don't die on that one, because I'm not telling you it is one which is coming back. That is just a sample question.
No.
Okay? Don't reach an exam room and you faint and you see, he has not brought it. Who told you I'm going to bring it? Okay. I wish you a nice weekend.
This weekend.
Someone saying the excuse. What are you excusing yourself?
How are we submitting the work?
Which work?
The
coursework you gave us.
Did I tell you to send it online on email?
Yeah, you said the deadline is 30th.
Yeah, by email, isn't it?
Follow the instructions to send the work.
Your friends have told you to follow instructions. Okay. You call it a nice evening.